Okay, so this is me. If you are not connected to me on all of the socials, then please, you can scan that QR code or you can go to that short link. Obviously, if any of you are in security, you're thinking, how do we trust those things? You can trust me because it's Michelle, so that's fine. Um, yeah, on LinkedIn, do if don't just follow me, click on the three dots and say connect because we know each other now from this meetup, so we're practically besties. Okay. So I don't know whether any of you have seen this quote. Um, AI is not going to take your job, but someone using AI will. I suppose because this is the Azure user group, there might be people in the room who consider themselves infrastructure people, and there might be people in the room who consider themselves developers, and there might be people in the room who are AI engineers, and there might be people in the room who have not gone anywhere near AI. And I do not know what all of you are. Maybe Sam, you could just get me a little hand count and see who is infra, who is dev, and who is AI.
Okay, who's in infrastructure? 1, AI, 2, 3, dev, 1, 2. Yeah, a few in each, Michelle.
Is there anyone who hasn't touched anything to do with AI and is a little bit worried?
One tentative hand up.
Okay.
He's worried the AI is spying on
him. Well, I would say it's not the AI you need to worry about. It's those tech bros that are selling it. Anyway, yes. So AI is not going to take your job, but someone who is using it will. So my advice to all of you is absolutely learn some of the AI skills, pick some of that stuff up, even if you're not going to do it as your primary job. Understanding what it can do and how it can accelerate your productivity is going to put you ahead of everyone else. Absolutely do not use it for vibe coding. So do not let the AI do all of your coding for you. Use it to enable you to write the code you were going to write, but quicker. Use it to help sense check the code you have written and make it better, cleaner, faster, more efficient. Use it to give you advice, to remind you of the things you've forgotten. For example, I am not an infrastructure girl, and I always forget how do I deploy stuff to Azure, what are the resources, what are the commands in the CLI, all of that. I hate commands in the CLI. And I will just ask it, give me the commands, tell me what I need to do. And instead of having to look stuff up, which would take me ages and I'd get distracted, I can do it a lot quicker. So I am doing the work that I would normally do, but I am doing that work quicker because of the AI. I'm not letting it take my job. I'm not letting it do stuff instead of me. I am using it to make me faster and to make me better and to teach me stuff. And so that's my hot tip for you. I have got links to the AI Fest and Hackathon at the end as well. So there is some good content that you can follow on. Oh, I do have a little workshop as well there. Okay, so custom neural voice, what is all that about? Essentially, you can make a voice that is a human sounding voice. Now, there are absolutely a bunch of already created, standardized voices that you can use, and you can pick, girl American voice, boy American voice, Australian voice, older voice or younger voice, all sorts of, voices that you can use to build into your apps so that they have a more natural sound to them. They sound like a human, but not exactly, because you don't want to trick people into thinking AI is real. Custom neural voice is where you can really base it on actual human voices. So what I did with this is I have used my voice in order to create a custom neural voice, and now I could just give it a whole script for like a YouTube video or TikTok. And if you check out my TikTok, in fact, there is a video on there where I have given a script to the custom neural voice, and it has read the whole thing for me. I think you can definitely tell that isn't me over that video. But you have to bear in mind that I haven't spent a lot of time tuning this voice and making it much better. So I uploaded like 400 sentences. I didn't use headphones or a mic, didn't record it in a soundproof studio, just recorded it at my desk in this open office. I was in a real hurry when I was doing it because it was before I went to AI Tour. And so I was like under a time thing in order to get it going. So the quality of the stuff that I gave it was not awesome, but nevertheless, I think you'll find it's really good. You're listening to my voice now, and you'll be able to hear it when we test it out in a bit, and you can tell me whether you think it sounds like me. So this is how it works as a model. So it consists of three major components. You have the text analyzer, the neural acoustic model, and the neural vocoder. To generate natural synthetic speech from text, then text is first input into the text analyzer, which provides output in the form of a phoneme sequence. And a phoneme is a basic unit of sound that distinguishes one word from another in a particular language. And the sequence of phonemes defines the pronunciation of the words that are provided in the text. I should have had it read all of this for me because there's little long words in here that are weird. So then the phoneme sequence goes into the neural acoustic model to predict acoustic features that define speech signals. And then acoustic features include like the timbre, the speaking style, the speed, intonations, and stress patterns. And finally, the neural vocoder converts the acoustic features into audible waves, so the synthetic speech is generated. So natural text-to-speech voice models are trained by using deep neural networks based on the recording samples of human voices. So in my case, it will be based on my voice. So it's actually pretty, now I was going to say it's pretty easy to do it. Technically, it is not difficult to do this. It is very easy to do it. What is difficult is it's more cumbersome, I suppose, is the you need 300 voice samples. So you need to record all of these clips as separate and upload them as separate clips, and also upload like the written text of those clips. So the written text part, that's not a problem, but the splitting out and like recording 00001 dot wave 0002 dot wave, you know, is that is a tedious part. But the whole creation, not a problem, not at all difficult. Okay, so this is how it looks. I cannot tell whether you can see that quite clearly on there or whether it would be better to flip into like a live demo of it as opposed to this. Actually, I'm just going to show you a few of these screens and then maybe we will go into the actual page. So when you are creating it, you create a new project, and the first thing that it wants you to do is to set up a voice talent. And then you get the option to kind of go through and pick what are you going to use this for. There's lots of things, lots of tick boxes you can put it for, though I've just put in there that I'm going to use it for my own personal content creation. You have to record a statement saying, "I, Michelle Sandford, give permission for Microsoft Microsoft being my company. So you wouldn't say Microsoft unless you work for Microsoft. You would say the name of your company. And that I should state as well. This is not available for people to use personally. You need to be doing it as part of an enterprise subscription. And you also need to fill in a form to say what you're going to use it for, because we are super aware of the evils people use AI for. And perhaps this is a good point to mention that, people have absolutely used this kind of voice to call up banks and say, hey, this is Michelle Sandford. I would like you to transfer all of the money out of my account into this Swiss bank account now. And the voice sounds so much like it that it is absolutely able to trick people. In fact, the other example of this, and it was not just the custom neural voice, it was also deep fakes of the people themselves, was a Hong Kong bank that was tricked into transferring, I think, $30 million in a video call deep fake situation. And so, yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that only happens once, but that is that is one of the reasons why you have to fill in a form to say why your organization wants to create this kind of voice, and that you, as the voice talent, have to record a statement saying that you give permission to your company to use your voice, because absolutely it could be used for evil purposes, and you do not want that. I definitely do not have enough money for anyone to be stealing it, so don't be thinking of using my stuff for that. Okay, then the next stage would be preparing the training data. And I'm going to go into the tool and show you what this looks like, in fact, and what this sounds like. Data quality, you can see that my data quality there is absolutely appalling, that I had just recorded the 300 samples where it picked up a bunch of things were wrong. For example, my text script did not match my audio sample recorded, or there's too long a noise, or you can hear my puppies coming in and clattering on the floor, stuff like that. Instead of deleting those samples and re-recording them or editing them, trimming them, that kind of thing, I simply recorded more samples. So instead of submitting 300, I submitted 400 samples. The disadvantage of doing that is, of course, you have a lower quality voice that you've recorded. I think it's pretty good still, considering. The other thing is the cost. So for those 300 samples, it cost $300 American. So this, as an example of things that you might do for funsies, it is not the kind of thing that you would do for funsies, because it costs $300 for the training of the samples. And the other thing that costs a lot of money is if I leave the endpoint on. So the endpoint is on right now and it is consuming. It is not every time I hit the endpoint. It is literally how long that is on for. So I left it on over a weekend and it cost me several $100s, which is not what I want to do.
Sorry, Michelle, just on that.
Mhm.
So there's obviously the cost for training. Is there an ongoing cost for generation of voice content as well?
It's just while your endpoint is on, you are being charged while your endpoint is on. So for example, I turned it on just before this call. We're going to record something during the call, and then I'll turn it off after the call. And it wouldn't matter whether I recorded loads of things during this call or whether I just recorded that one thing. I think it is just the amount of time that it is on that is costing me the money.
Okay.
I think so. So I'll let you know if I find out that it caused me other money as well. But it's already, I think it's compared to many other things that you can build with Azure, I think it's quite an expensive thing. Um, Obviously not Kubernetes clusters, that's pretty expensive, and standing up VMs and leaving them up forever, that is. But the things that I normally do is I would just create static web apps. That's either free or cheap. I create in those static web apps, I create them with AI, so like using custom vision, stuff like that. Again, either free or next to nothing. I've done also like a robot that moves around, does obstacle detection and stuff like that. It was like next to nothing in costs, like $6 a month kind of thing. So to me, this is a very expensive thing, and you can do a lot of stuff in Azure AI that is either free or is cheap and is a lot of fun. So yes, relatively expensive. Okay, training model and then testing, but I'm going to show you this actually in the app. Let me switch to that now. Hang on. Stop sharing that and share instead.
I can't hear you, sorry. Can you ask a question now? Yeah, you can ask. Sorry, we got a question here. Sorry. About the text script. I'm just saying that do we need to develop that ourselves or develop this for samples? Is that for the testing, for the learning? For training data. For the training data, do you get a script that you have to do, or do you just randomly give it 400 sentences?
I will show you that now.
Okay.
Let me bring this up. Share. I'm going to share this window.
It looked like there were prompts on the screen for sentences that you could do.
So when you're deciding whether you want to do light or pro, you can do light. Like normal people can do light, and that's a good thing to play with. The pro one, you need to apply via a form, and you need to also have like your company's enterprise license is to do that with. But the light one, you can do it, and it will provide you with 40 samples. So it will give you the things to say, and you can press on this button and you can record them in your window. So using the light version, fun to play with and easy to do. And you can create your voice within an hour, and it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be okay. So definitely you can do that. You can do that online, and it will give you the samples. For the pro one, it is not as easy to do it with in that you can't record it in the screen, but there are here indeed some sample scripts. Oops. Here on GitHub, and you can see even they have them. So we can pick Australia, we can pick English Indian accent, English Ireland, English United Kingdom. It's not accent as such, it's things you might say. So it's kind of, when I first did this, there wasn't all of these scripts. There was only one script, and all of the scripts, all of the words that you had to say were so American. There was so much stuff in there that was like talking about baseball or talking about American football, talking, specific words that they only use in America, which we do not use here in Australia. So that is another reason why my voice is not as perfect as it could be when you hear it, but it's still pretty good. And so, yes, you can. Hang on, I'll just show you what those look like. In fact, here's Australia. I think the chat one is the good one. So this is what you need to save the audio file as, and then you say, yes, I have a lot of furniture and a lot of books. After that, I couldn't find the strange man again. So I can bring a couch and a washing machine. And so the thing you need to remind yourself is while you're reading those things to try and speak them with the enthusiasm or articulation that you would normally use for that kind of sentence. So it is also quite brain intensive. But let us have a look. So I have this one, which is my original one, the Michelle CNV. And this one, CNV2, I have not done that yet. So you see, I decided I would like to do it again with better quality, with a microphone, with a quiet booth, with me reading all the proper things. So I am going to retrain and see what the difference is between these two models. But currently we just have this model. In here, voice talent. So if I played this, you would hear me saying that statement. Let's not tempt fate by playing that. So then here is the training data. You can see there's 400 utterances in there, and you can see that that is because I had quite a few rejected. If we look at the rejected data, and it will tell you no matching audio. So I have the transcript is there with this sample, but I didn't upload a sample that matches it. No matching audio, no matching audio. Here we go.
We're actually not hearing that, Michelle.
Oh, we're not hearing that. Hang on.
Yeah, no, I think because it's probably playing in your speakers, but it's not feeding through.
No, it's okay. You just have to reshare and say include sound. Hang on. I just have not turned on that button. Let's go back there. Here we go. Let's do that again. So this audio is meant to say in the movie you never see Gigi's mother, but what does it say? The sheer wildness of Seaside's gardens is thus an inadvertent byproduct of the town's success. Do you hear that?
Yes.
Excellent. So what I've done there, you see, is I have uploaded a script that says CNV sample 102 should say in the movie you never see Gigi's mother. But in fact, CNV sample 102 as a recording that was uploaded did not say that at all. It said something else entirely. So these are all of the things that are wrong with that. And instead of me correcting all of these things and deleting all of these things, I just added more data. So I did 400 in the end. And if you look at them, there are issues with so many of them. Yet nevertheless, it's a pretty good voice, I think. So these are all actual recordings of me speaking. You know, I'd wondered why MSN.com looks so wonky in Opera. You see, and you hear the quality of that is not great, but nevertheless, that's what I went with. So all of those uploaded. Then in the training model, so if we go in here. So here's some tests. So all of this stuff is tests generated by the system. I didn't put in the scripts and I did not say any of these things. So this is the story of how she got there, where she is going, and how she wants the world to change. Would you think that was me?
It's fairly good likeness, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. My husband said he could not tell that that wasn't me saying it. This one, there's nothing scheduled for 8 a.m. I can tell that isn't me saying it because I don't say scheduled, I say scheduled. But in fact, if I was sleepy, I might not notice that. Otherwise, I think it's pretty perfect. So yes, that is scary, I think. And then if you think that's good, all you then do is you deploy the model. So Here's the one we have, and this is, and while you see it has like suspend up, that means it is running. So therefore it's costing me money as we speak. So let's switch over to, so here I am in GitHub code spaces. Now, all of this, like all of these instructions are in the docs and they give you the code samples that you can work with. The only difference that I have here is I'm doing this in code spaces, and so I did ask Copilot how to help me rewrite the code so that instead of using a .env file to store my keys and my endpoints and all of that stuff, I would put it in GitHub secrets, and it told me how to do all of that, told me how to change the code for that, which I love because I can never keep straight in my head how to change those things. I do not like having keys in my code, even if it is only on my local machine. I think that presents a risk. So therefore, I would always rather have it in a secrets thing in GitHub if possible. So I am trying all the time to use GitHub code spaces. I should ask, does everyone know what GitHub code spaces is?
Yeah, got a few nods. Anyone not? No, one not sure.
Okay, so GitHub itself is, of course, the file repository for all the code in the world. Everyone keeps their code in their GitHub filing cabinet, which is up on github.com. You can, if you don't have one, you can have a free account for github.com and you can keep your code up there, but you can also keep other stuff. People like write marketing blogs and they keep their photos and all sorts. Like, it's a really good way to use the cloud for free. You can also have now GitHub Copilot for free as well. So that's also a great way, if you don't know how to code, to work with GitHub Copilot for free, and it will help teach you to code. Code spaces themselves are containers in the cloud. So instead of standing up a VM, instead of using all of your computer processing power to try and code stuff on your computer, you can have your own independent container in the cloud. The reason I use it all the time now instead of doing stuff on my laptop is, well, there's two reasons. One is this laptop is very nearly 4 years old, and so it does not have a lot of space on it, and it is very tired, much like me. So it is actually a lot faster for me to take a clean container and do stuff in the cloud. The only time I cannot do stuff in the cloud, ironically, is when I am actually in the clouds, i.e. on an aeroplane without Wi-Fi. So that is the only reason I would be doing stuff locally on my laptop. Otherwise, I would do it in a code space. Code spaces are also free. You can get, I think, 60 hours per month of free code spaces. So no reason not to use code spaces to do your code. The other reason is whenever I would do stuff locally on my laptop, I would often be just, accepting all the updates, accepting all the downloads of everything, and it would mess up my code, mess up my dependencies, and I would have all sorts of stuff not working after I had accepted all those downloads. Whereas when you open a code space, it opens that clean environment for you every time. You don't need to install Python to your machine or JavaScript, which is huge. You don't need to have all of those massive code bases on your machine. As long as it sees one thing, so like this one file that is a .py file, when you open your code space, it will open it with Python already installed in there. So it's you don't have to waste loads of time downloading things. You don't have to waste loads of space on your computer by having it all locally. You can just do it all in your code spaces for free in the cloud and ask Copilot when you get stuck on stuff and it will help you. So magic, and it's free, glorious. If you don't have GitHub, get it. Marvelous thing. Anyway, so here is my piece of code, which I took from a sample and I edited it a little bit. What shall we say? Does anyone want to Does anyone want to shout something out so that we can have an absolutely new thing recorded by my custom neural voice, and you will know that I have not recorded it in advance, and it really is the technology doing it.
You'd say the Adelaide Azure user group is the best group you've presented to. Hang on, just let me record this.
Okay, so the Adelaide Azure user group is the best group I've ever presented to. That's me saying it now. Let us just run this. So Python speech. Okay, and so it has created. Oh, but why is that changed and that isn't? That hasn't. The Adelaide Azure group is the best group I have ever presented to. I was created using Azure Speech Services custom neural voice. So you can see it's like a little bit different than me, because I would say the Adelaide Azure user group is the best group I've ever presented to. The Adelaide Azure group is the best group I have ever presented to. I was created using Azure Speech Services custom neural voice. I've removed my bracket inadvertently, I think, and so it's saying that second part as well. Yeah, a little bit different, but nevertheless, you probably wouldn't pick up that that was me, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's really good, especially when you see how bad my recordings were, like how much bad quality I gave to it, and how much yeah, and how much of everything else. So I guess that is everything in there. Then I will just stop sharing that and go back to the other one.
I've got a question here. So is there a way to measure the accuracy of the model? Or like how would you come to know? This is a manual way where we saw like is it good or not, but is there a way to measure the accuracy?
So where is my train model?
I think it was in prepared training data, those charts and that were in there.
So these charts are around the pronunciation and the utterance of the stuff that I have uploaded, and this is around the quality of that, but I think he's asking around the accuracy of the model. Like you would see in the Azure safety content system thing. There's a lot of stuff in there around testing quality of the model. I do not see it in here. Oh, no, I do not see it in here. So no, I guess there is not.
Sorry, Michelle. Do you have much control over things like inflection of words and pause between words, that kind of thing? Because every time I hear an AI generated voice, that's what gives it away. It's the not monotone, but the flat pronunciation of words and the perfectly even spacing of words. Because people don't speak that way. They have shorter gaps between some words and longer gaps between other words. And with the AI, I find it tends to almost even out the speech. So it's very not monotonous, but it's very sort of rigid in its timing, I find.
I have definitely seen that, but not in here. So I think in the other in the non-custom neural voice ones, I think you can absolutely train those ones to change, and you can do stuff like around, make it more angry, make it more happy. You can do all of that stuff as well, all of those adaptations. I don't see it in here. But
I guess that's probably why it tries to get 300 odd samples to try and pick up on all those variations.
Yes, exactly.
What you just repeated, you should all those variations.
Yeah.
And it probably won't do that.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, it doesn't have the flaws that normal speech has. Yeah.
Hesitancies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that as well, like, because that original data set that I used was American, and really not the kind of things that I would normally say. It's more limited than it would be. So I think when I do the new one that I've set up, and I use that, you see that there was not just one data set in here as well. There was, there's a general text, so there's 300 in there, general text, there's chat, and there's customer service specifically. So if I'm going to use this one, the chat one, which I like, and I could theoretically do more than that. And, I think when it has like a much bigger data set sample and also a much more relevant data set sample, it's going to be even better than it is. And I don't think you're going to notice it as much as as we do here. But even so, I don't think you notice it when I do individual sentences. I think you only notice it when I've recorded like a much longer paragraph. Then you start to notice it.
Sorry, there's another question, sir.
Yes, if we add the training data related to a song, can we train the model to sing that song?
I don't know if you'd be able to get it to sing a song, because that's obviously there's
Taylor Swift makes so much.
Sing that song without.
I have heard
there's tempo and stuff like that involved in singing a song, so.
I have heard other AI apps where they are the models are specifically trained for singing and for your voice. And so that's what you need, a model that is specifically trained for singing. And I don't think it's the kind of thing that, I was going to say, I don't think it's the kind of thing that we would do. That's not against anything, I guess, taking your voice and making it sing, but making you sing like Taylor Swift, it definitely would not. We would not do that, because we would consider that to be yes, bad, irresponsible AI.
Yes, well, some would call Taylor Swift singing offensive, but you should.
Taylor Swift is a goddess, and I will not hear a word against her. However, I do often try and use Taylor Swift in an AI context. For example, I used to ask Copilot if it would write me some code in the style of Taylor Swift, and it would not. It is so worried about the copyright implications of even sounding like Taylor Swift that it refuses that immediately. So, yes, you have to.
It would be interesting to try that in Grok, because Elon Musk basically specifically says that he tries to remove all bias and stuff from his Grok AI. So it'd be interesting to see if that would do it.
Well, I hear his Grok is very brutally honest about how he is not a man to be trusted, and how he is.
I did see that.
Yes, indeed.
It does work. It does very well for tech stuff, though. I've been using it the last few weeks for tech programming stuff above and beyond sort of Claude and ChatGPT, and it's phenomenal. It hasn't got anything wrong so far. So.
Well, I have for you in one of my links at the end some prompt engineering workshops that you can try if you want, and I have added a few I have added one of the newer models in there. In GitHub Copilot, if you download VS Code Insiders and have access then to the agent mode, you can get really a lot of the models in there. Claude 3.5, 3.7, Gemini, like a whole bunch of new models have dropped into GitHub Copilot. But yeah, I've put 3 of them in my prompt engineering workshop that I'll give you after this. And the key, well, one of the key things you need to think about when you are deploying an AI model to an app is this the right AI model? So, for example, it used to be that if you asked it a riddle, one that was sort of like, if my dad has one sister and my son has one aunt, what is the name of my, that kind of riddle. It used to be that none of those models could answer that question. They were all absolutely perplexed by them. And now you can ask all of the models that I have attached to that workshop that question and it will answer them without a problem. But the data set has not been updated. So if you ask it, when did Queen Elizabeth II die? Both 3.5 and 4 will tell you that as far as they know, she hasn't died yet. Whereas the O3 Mini will say she died on this date, which I think is interesting because it means even though they are not updating the data set, they are nevertheless updating the model itself so that it learns things, so that you're unable to, for example, do jailbreaking on it. You're unable to do prompt injection because it's constantly up to date with the ways that have been discovered to make sure that it doesn't fall victim to those things without updating the data set. And that's obviously a cost saving thing because updating like a massive data set costs a lot of money. So there are clever ways that they keep you secure and safe without costing a lot of money. But I am digressing. Applications and use cases for a custom neural voice. So you could use it as a brand voice for your business. Obviously I want to use it to just do all my YouTube videos and all my TikToks for me from now on. That would be better. But I also need to create one of these avatars as well, or create an avatar based on me. I haven't tried that yet, but I'll have to give that a go soon, I think. Media and entertainment, so you can use it to develop distinct voices for characters in video games, films, audiobooks. Accessibility, so that you can have personalized voices for text-to-speech systems. Education and e-learning. Health and wellness, so conversational voices for meditation apps, etc. And personalization, just, create custom voices for your home. So I could have if I had devices in my home, I could have it talking to my doggies and things while I'm not there and telling them to stop peeing on my furniture. Yes, very cool. Here we go. Here are a bunch of resources for you. So that is the custom neural voice docs that you can start with, you can follow to build it. As I say, I recommend you just use the light version. That is cheap, that is easy, that is possibly even free. It might even be free. And very quick, and so you can get a good voice just from that very easy one. That's the Speech Studio. Ultimately, all of those studios will be accessible through AI Foundry, but you can also go directly to it on its own there. As they mentioned at the start, there is a Skills Fest challenge on right now. Now, this is particularly important that you register today because there is a world record attempt going on right now. If you go in and just watch one of the videos in that Skills Fest challenge for the Guinness World Record attempt, and you can filter it by that, just watch one of those videos while you have your dinner or something. And then at the end, it will give you a QR code that you can then download your badge that will say you were part of the world record breaking attempt. I am not sure they are going to beat the world record because they have mostly just put like video learning in as part of this challenge for the world record attempt. Whereas I think, like, I personally would prefer the learning paths. Learning path challenges are kicking off tomorrow, though. And speaking of, underneath that, the AI Agents Hackathon has also started. You should register for that. There are huge prizes, like $20,000 and things for that hackathon. But they are not letting you, they're not leaving you alone to figure out how do I build stuff. Within that hackathon page is a bunch of webinars that are coming out where they will teach you how to build stuff with AI, teach you how to build agents, teach you how to build agentic apps, teach you if you want to do something that's low code, no code, they have a whole pathway on that as well. And also there's loads of learning attached to any of those webinars, so you can just follow the learning path and learn how to build all of those things and potentially win big money. So sign up for the hackathon, do some of those. But first, the Skills Fest tonight to get your badge today. And then my prompt engineering workshop, when I say my, I mean Cloud Advocates created this workshop, but it is my AI proxy playground that I'm giving you access to. So you do not need, there is nothing that you need. You don't need an Azure subscription. You do not need to know how to use Azure. You do need a free GitHub ID. Well, you need a GitHub ID, which you can register for while you're logging on. And then when you are in there, it will give you an API key, which is mine. So try not to use it recklessly to, set up your own production business and use burn through all my credit. I'm giving it to you out of love. So you can try those prompt engineering workshops. And the thing that I want you to pay attention to is some of those instructions are out of date because, as I said, the models have been retrained since it was written, and they are no longer failing to do the things that it claims they will fail. Oh, I couldn't put it into the proxy playground because the proxy playground is a little bit limited in what it will allow in there. But if you go to AI Foundry, you can try these things for free or for very cheap. In there, you can just go to the model catalog and try different models. And so you can see there is a bunch of them in there that are really good at maths. And when you're in your prompt engineering workshop and you ask the models stuff about maths, it's pretty good, but it's not like mathematically accurate to 2 decimal places or whatever. Well, it's probably 2 decimal places it would be, but 4 it might not be. And so those are the kind of things that you would need to ask yourself when you're building an app. Do I need a mathematical model? Do I need a model that is specialized in singing? Do I need a model that is specialized in health? A lot of these models, generic models like GPT, like the GPT ones, are focused first on being conversational and being able to provide you information in a conversational format, but they aren't experts in their field. But there are other models that are experts in their field but have very little conversational talent. So that's a thing you can ask yourself, and this is kind of why people are now building agentic models, which means you have a different agent doing a different task for each of the different things that you need. So in that way, you can build a really great app that can do many, many different things because different agents are specializing on different things. And I realized I wasn't, wasn't meant to be speaking to you about AI apps and all of that, just about custom neural voice, but it is very exciting and I can't help it. So there we go. I'm done.